Okay, welcome to Cloud Training for Enthusiasts. I'm your pilot again, Osato Amen Patrick Aigbogun. And yeah, today is going to be a very fantastic class because we are not just going to be talking about Git, as we all know. I'm talking about the basic operations of Git and why is Git more robust and more is even gaining more ground now. What is Git operations and how do you use your private repo? These are the things that we're going to be addressing today. And I would recommend we invite others that are not yet here because I don't think people can be able to miss out because I think this is the first time I'm taking the course, Git operations, Git and GitHubs. Understand me? This is the first time I'm taking Git on GitHubs. And one of the reference material that I'm going to share here is the material from Atlassian. Okay, I will explain to you what's an Atlassian and what Atlassian is all about. So I think we'll just go straight to start where we are here. So I believe we actually agreed that we're going to be starting 4:30. So today we are starting 4:30 at the dot. Anybody that is not here, well, first you can watch the video. Okay, just like we have Git, which is an open source. What do you mean by open source? It means that it's a free application. Even the owner of the company, Git, actually make it free for everybody to use. So free Git is an open source, meaning the license is for everybody to use, contribute to it, and keep working on. So yesterday we actually moved into Git repo, but there's something we didn't do yesterday. We didn't talk about how to start your Git account, how to authenticate, how to create your user, and how to create your user, and how to authenticate a local application to your GitHub repo, and how to manage both of them together. So yesterday was just an overview, but today we're going to be addressing that. And today we are still going to be sharing a sheet. What is a sheet? A sheet is just like a document that contains different codes that you can use for Git. And that sheet is what everybody is using. Understand me? That is just, but you should know what to do. You should know when to use it so that when you are using it, you not just be one of those people that just trying to use Git and GitHub. So Atlassian, which we are going to be taking reference for in this class, Atlassian is not really an open source. It's a company that exists, that provides DevOps infrastructure, DevOps solutions. Their system is no more than just DevOps. They provide DevOps source code management called Bitbucket. They provide DevOps management tools called Jira. Maybe some of us have heard of Jira. They also provide documentation process called, they call this again. They have a documentation called Conference. They're the owner of Conference. And so they also provide CI/CD pipeline, also known as SQL CI. So Atlassian is a very, very robust company that provides these services. And most of their services they have a free version. They also have an enterprise version. So, and the same way, the only difference between them and Git is that Git is open source. Although despite Git is an open source, there's also enterprise version of Git. So Git also provides all these things, but except I don't think Git provides documentation. Git does not have documentation, but Git also has CI/CD. And the kind of CI/CD, you call it Git actions. Maybe some of us have heard of Git actions. You can see it here. Git actions is just like a line of instruction that you can also give to your Git. You can attach to your Git repo. That it can help you to automatically deploy application that you already have here. It can build a Docker for you and can deploy the Docker for you. That's the Git actions. You can see it here. This is the Git action. This is the pull request. This is the project. I think they also have Git project, but I've not used this Git project. I've not used Git project before. They also have Git security and insight and settings. So all these things you are seeing here, okay, yes, they have their Git project. This is almost similar to It's almost similar to Jira and Scope. So the difference between us, the DevOps engineers with Git, and the developers with Git are quite different. The developer only use Git to just manage their code. That's why it's called SCM, source code management. But we DevOps engineer, we use Git as GitOps, Git operations. So we can also use Git to do our CI/CD and pipeline building. So you can see. So those are the area we're going to focus on, because some companies use Git Actions. They don't use CircleCI, they don't use Jenkins. But we DevOps engineers, we can use Git for our complete pipeline management. Okay, that is another thing I want you to take note of. Okay, now let's talk about how to privately install your application. That's why if you miss today's class, you may think it's just one of those classes about Git. It's not just one of those classes. Today is loaded. Okay, and those of us that watch the video, maybe you'll come and enjoy it. Okay, now let's go into, first of all, everybody here will have to create a Git account. And I want to be sure that we have a Git account. So I'm going to stop sharing now. I want to ask everybody to go and create a Git and GitHub. Please share your screen and show me your Git and GitHub account. Everybody. So I'm going to stop recording. Okay, now we already everybody have GitHub account now, and everybody now have access to our organization account, which is a cloud enthusiast. So I've required that everybody should also configure your environment, your local repository to give it a name, as in register your GitHub with your name and your email. You do that by saying git config -- global username, and instead of username, you put your username there. GitHub config -- global user email, you put your email at the end. If you're able to do that successfully, you have validated, and your GitHub, your Git application is no longer anonymous. You understand me? It's now, it has a name, it has a face, it has an email, so it's traceable. You understand? So after doing that, but that does not give, that is not yet it does not actually give you some authentication process for you to access a private repository. For you to have access to your private repository, is that you use an IAM rule or you use an SSH key, a key pair. What's an SSH key? Okay, SSH key is a combination of alphanumerical codes that are very many. Is that me? But it has two parts. It has the primary and the public part. Okay, let me explain the concept of SSH for you. Let me illustrate it. Because the concept of SSH is very rampant and you should understand it. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. As anybody that missed today's class may find it difficult to, even if you watch this video, you may not be able to catch up the way you want to. Okay, SSH is called secure share. I don't mean of share now. We all are using share. And this secure share comes with two principles. It says they have a bunch of alphanumeric codes. When I say alphanumeric, meaning alphabet, numeric, and special codes, you understand me? But they are so long, there are so many. You understand me? It has two parts. It has the private and the public. So this, you can consider this as the concept of using $1 to authenticate yourself. Remember, some of us have actually watched some mafia movies, all these American movies, where somebody that is exchanging business will tear $1 into two parts, right? And it will give one of the parts to somebody else. Are you getting me? And will give you one of the part to the other person. And for you to validate that, okay, this is the person I'm to do business with. The $2, when they bring them together, it should form one complete dollar with the same number. Remember, when you tear a dollar into two parts, we are going to have the same number in both ends, right? The same number in both ends. And it must be original. And it's only $1 that can have the same number in both ends. Must be original. So when you join them together, it becomes one. And if they're able to authenticate that these $2 that you've turned into two parts, you bring them together and they became one, you can ascertain that, oh, this is the person that should have access to these resources. The same thing with SSH key. SSH key has two parts. It has the private and the public key, but they may look similar. But by the time you are using a private key to access your public key, so that means you're going to have your private key in your local system and your public key somewhere. So for anybody to have us, to everybody to be able to access that, either a compute instance or a storage resources, you must validate. So when you say SSH into something, the first thing that the computer will compare your private key and look at the SSH key repository or SSH storage or SSH key, should I say, the secure document, and validates that this key, which is a private key, is it the same thing with this public key? If the answer is yes, that means if the private key of the public key, if this private key and this public key that are the same thing, if they can validate that they are from the same source, you will have access. But if they validate that they are not the same source, you will not have access. So this SSH key is one of the most secure way of authenticating any resources, especially when a machine wants to talk to another machine. So this is what you use in not only in your local system, also in your compute instance. So Git also uses that same SSH key. If you look at under security, okay, let me show you something. Excuse me. If you come to Git here and you go to settings, under settings, you are going to see password and authentication. That's one. Then the other one is SSH key and GPG. Most companies use GPG. GPG is like an advanced SSH key, just that a GPG key is like it has a signature. Anybody that you also generate two pairs, the private and the public, just that GPG, it will keep your name, it will add your name to it, that, oh, this person uses the system and he signed it. But SSH key most times does not come with signature. Like you can see me, my system, I have two SSH key. After doing this video, I'm going to delete these two because I've exposed it. Though with just these few lines, you may not be able to generate because there are more. So I'm going to show you how to generate this key. You can also generate a GPG key. What we do is this: you generate one of the key, you put the public key in your public repo here. So anytime you want to access your private repository, this GitHub here, we look at this public key that is here and compare it if the public key and the private key are from the same machine. If the answer is yes, it will give you access. If the answer is no, you will not be able to have access. So this is why I put these two keys here. The private key of these two public keys are in my system. So I can use either of them to access my private repository. This is on that level of authentication. And not only for this, it also cut across compute systems and everything. So now let's go into how to generate SSH key. And everybody's going to generate one. And some of you may have gotten one already, but I always recommend you just generate one for the purpose of this class so that after the class, you can delete it and generate a secure one. You are not allowed to show people your SSH key, any form. In fact, I wouldn't want to go deep. Let me not stop. Let me not go deep. Let me just remain here. But there are some public cloud infrastructure that if your SSH key is leaked, automatically you will not be able to use it. So you can see all of you are members here. Even as you are members here, you have to authenticate your system to show that this system, I'm the one using this system. Because you know all these queues are here, they are all remote. Anybody can, any system. But for your system to access this repo, you must add SSH key to your own system. All these things are called Git operations. What I'm showing you now is more than just committing and merging. No, this is how you operate your Git resources and how you perform Git operations. This operation is called administration, Git administration. Okay, now let's go into creating of GitHub. Please, all of you, open this stuff. I'm sending a link to you. Open the link and download this sheet. It will give us a guide throughout this class of Git. I'm sending them to you now. And after this class, look at the things that are there and try and play with all this sheet. It's here. I'll share it here. I'm still going to share it in our group. Please open it immediately and download it. I'll share it here. So just see it as a handout for Git operations. So see it as a handout. So everything you want to do about Git is inside here. Just see that in as a handout. So now let's talk about how to create an SSH key. There are many ways you can create an SSH key. But the most simpler one, you just say SSH-keygen. This one will only just create, this one will create a generic SSH key for you without any weight. No, SSH key get levels, you understand? They have class, they have style. But this one will just generate a simple one for you. I always recommend before you create an SSH key, go to your home directory, CD, just touch CD or CD tint, enter. You see ls, you see nothing is there in your home directory. In your home directory, most times there's always your SSH folder, but it's not always visible. So to access it, you just say cd.ssh. It's not always visible, but it's there. These are all my SSH key. Left. So whenever you want to generate SSH key, I always recommend you generate it inside here. So remember I told you, just type CD, enter, or CD tint, enter, anyone. Then after you've type those two, then you create, these are the SSH key I've used, but I'm going to delete all of them now because most of my work, I'm cleaning up my system for a new opportunity that I'm going to start. And I'm still going to have another system for that. So, okay, now, cleared. Are you there? Go to your CD, everybody. Go to your environment.
Excuse me, please. I can't see. I was unable to get to SSH on my own stuff, on my own system.
Okay, when you go into your home, do you type cd.ss, .s, then you type your tab.
.s, cd.s.
cd.ss, press your tab. You will see if it's not there, then you have to create it. Is it there?
Mine is not there.
It's not there. It's not on my own.
Okay. Then you have to create it. Okay, you have to create it. If it's not there, that cd.s.z, let me see, .s, you're supposed to see SSH. For you cannot see SSH, so it means that you don't have SSH since you've been working. So what you do, just type cd.ssh, or just make a directory mkdir mkdir/ssh. You understand me? .ssh, not ssh, .ssh. You create a folder. Have you done that? Then move.
Done. 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 I've done it.
Everybody do that. Everybody do it. Everybody. If you have it before, no. If you don't have it before, create it. If you've done that, then the next thing you do, you have to create your SSH key. These are the way you can create SSH key. Can you say SSH-keygen? That is the simple way without putting any, but there are many ways which I'm going to share now. If we say enter, it's going to say generating SSH key, ROSA. We ask you to give you the name of the SSH key. We can say Feb 2022, enter. You say you should give it a password. Me, I don't always give password, but sometimes you can put give password. Enter, then a key has been generated. Two keys will be generated. Oh, I made a mistake. See what I'm talking about? I always have this issue whenever I'm. Let me remove it. ROM. Feb. Remove. Dot pop remove. cd.ssh. Enter, then SSH-keygen. Enter. It will tell you what's the name. Say enter the file, enter file which you want to save it. You give it a name, call it ftfb feb. You understand? Enter. You say you give it a password. You can give it a password, or you say I don't want the password. Then two keys will be generated, one private and one public. The one that has public, you will end with public. The one that has private will not have any name. You can see this is the key that will be generated now. This is the private, this is the public. So if you want to share anything, this is the one you are going to share. This public is what you will share. So if you require private access to any laptop, any application, any server, any public remote access, if you have this key and you have the address of that server, you'll be able to access it privately. Because why? Anyway, you put this your private key. If you put this your private key in the known host, you can see this is what we call known host. Like this known host here carries all the public keys that I want, that I'm giving access. That I want the known host here is just carrying the ROSA, the public ROSA. And this public ROSA sometimes is like a two-way thing, validating that this host, I'm used to it. So most times it's almost like a fraction of the public ROSA. So for instance, if I say cat known host, you can see. And then so this one is for EC2 instance. You can see this is the public IP. This is the ROSA. This is the key, the public key. The same thing is another instance. It's another instance. This is another instance. I'm going to delete all these ones because I don't know these instances are not. But you understand this more when we go into compute, cloud engineering, like server stuff, all the stuff. But I just want you to understand how to create an SOSA. But that's not the only way you can create. That one I just did now is for the amateur, for people that just came into cloud, you understand, and you don't want to give them heavy weights. You just want a simple way. Just create your SSH variant. So it works. Sometimes I also do that for when I'm doing a POC. You understand me? I don't just do POC. I don't want anything to disturb me. I can use that. I think there's another better way to create an SSH than Git SSH, from here. You can see this is the professional way of creating an ROSA key. Please, I've already shared this link with you. This link is going to be your coursework. Just take it as your handbook. Please add it as your material. Because it's not only for this class. When you start working and everything, you will need it. Understand? Because some company uses Bitbucket. They don't use Git, but they are all the same thing. Okay, I'm sharing it here. So if you look at the syntax, it said SSH keygen. Excuse me, let me close this. Let me also drop it here. As anybody that misses this class, just imagine how a person will be able to catch up. Please, for don't miss classes. Class have resumed fully. Yeah. Okay, if I say Control V, you can see, look at the syntax. It said, generate SSH key. And the type is going to be ROSA. The bit is 4090. And the name, email, this email. So that means for anybody to be able to use this key, one, it's not like a regular ROSA. This is the bits compared to the one I generated before. That one is just a normal ROSA, maybe 10 or 1080 or 2080. But this particular one, I'm saying it should have this level of security. This is encryption model. You can have this. You can even have more. There are more ROSA creation. Now I'm saying the type should be ROSA, which is almost like a PEM key. Then this is the email. So this email, I'm saying your email, so you can actually put your own email using creating your Git. OPAG1 at gmail.com. Okay. Now, if I create this ROSA, enter, it's still going to give me the same name. But this time, that's why they're going to give me the same name. Let me say cloud training for enthusiasts, Feb, authentic, enter. It's still going to ask me for my password. Then the same thing, it looks similar, but the level of security, this one I created now is higher than that security. And you can decide to create different version of your RSA. So this is the one I just created now. This one. Understand? So ls minus al, you can see.
You have to create this inside the SSH folder.
Yes, everything you always put in the SSH folder. You know why? For anybody to have access to this SSH folder, normally the person should have a level of security clearance. Understand me? Because you'll be able to access your system, access your SSH folder. SSH folder is still under your secret folders in your system because it's in your home directory. So for somebody to be able to access it must have a level of administration. So that's why I always recommend, but most times it's not compulsory you create it here. And so one of the other reasons why you also put it here is for organization purpose. Now you can know all your SSH key are now. But despite it's here, right? It does not mean that you can use it. So you have to add. You can say SSH minus add. I think SSH dash add, something like that. Then you put, let's say the key I want to use now is cloud training for. If I press enter, what happened is that I have added this my SSH key now, this key, to a known host in my system. But it's a temporary way because I didn't make it constant. I only just had it temporarily. So I will only use it per some, as long as my system is open. But if I close my system, I use it again to no longer be there. But there are other ways you can do. I think it's K. If I say -K, I think it will now add it permanently. So what does this mean is that in my system, despite I'm having an SSH key, not all SSH key people can use. I have to put it in my my system must be able to identify it. So I will put it in my identity added, under identity of my system. So if I do that, my system will be able to notice and recognize the SSH key that I created. So I just added this one now. Let me add the one we created before. Which one we created before? Which is this one, right? You only add your private key. You don't add public key because your system only uses the private key. You can see this -K means constant, meaning I don't need to be adding it every time. But if you say SSH only hard, what will happen is that anytime you want to use it, you have to invoke the SSH key. But if I don't add it, since I've added it, I can connect to any system without necessarily coming to it. You will not understand now. I know it may look so big, something complicated now, but don't worry, you will understand later. Now, let's go to why we even created the SSH key. The reason why we created the SSH key is simply because we want to add it to our public repository, to our GitHub. Okay, now let's go to the authentication. Remember I told you, it's the public that you had, Control-C, Control-V. Then cat means open. Then by the time you open it like this, you can see my username, my stuff, everything. I will come here and copy it. So you copy from the beginning to the end. Understand me? SSH ROSA. I think some people start from here. And so you copy, then you go to your GitHub account. Under security, under settings, under SSH key, you say create SSH, new SSH, give it a name, say cloud training for enthusiasts, then you come here and you paste and you add. You can see, this is the key now. So what does this mean? It means that as far as this key is here, any system.
Sorry, Pat, maybe that again, let me see what you did.
You go to new SSH key, give it a name. Let's say cloud training for enthusiasts Feb. I cannot, even if I copy it again, it will not work because I've already added it. You tell me my system, I've seen it. Oh, wow, is this one it works? Normally, so I say key already in use. It's not supposed to come up again because you can only add it once because your system will recognize it. So it's one of the advantages of SSH key is that nobody can cram it. You can see. You can imagine somebody want to cram all this. It's stronger than password. It'll be difficult for you to cram all these things. And if you want to cram, what message do you? When you want to cram all this. And if you cram all this, will you be able to cram the public key? Let's say cat, where's the public key now? Cloud training for enthusiasts. Imagine the public key. Can somebody cram this? See the public key. So if I want to access my instance, maybe I want to access my my GitHub from another person's system, what I would just do is to copy this private key. I copy it into that person's system and add it to the identifier system. So as far as I present this public key, I will be able to access my Git. That's the reason it's a security breach when you expose this. But if you expose this, every system you have access to, if the people can have the address and have these keys which is a file. You understand me? It's a file. I'm sorry, the person have gained access to your resources because the person will have access. But that's why most times you have to secure it, even secure the RSA with a password. Like if the person mistakenly got your private key, you understand me? The person will have to still go through the trouble of understanding your password, of knowing your password. That's why it's always advisable to also support it with a password. So that is it. Okay, now let me see you guys do it. Let me see you guys do it. I'm closing my screen now. Let me watch you. Share your screen, please. We have 30 minutes. So let me just complete this. So with that now, I should be able to access my public, my private repo using SSH. So if I come here under my private repo repository, I've explained to you what a repository is. This is a public repo, this is a private repo. Okay, I come here, I can say code, SSH.
You're not sharing the screen.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
If I cannot come here, I said, okay, I come here, I say copy. This is, whenever you get to any stuff, any repo, you come here, you say repository. You see, this one is private, this is public. This private, this public, I don't need to authenticate. But for me to access private repository, I must authenticate. Now I've already added my SSH key to my system, right? So, and I've already authenticated my system. So I can copy this thing down. I can come here and say SSH. We have HTTP, we have GitHub CLI, we have SSH. So just say SSH. And I want to clone. What I will do, I'll just go to my stuff. Let me open another terminal, Control N. Then open, make it bold, say clear. Let's say ls, then cd document. And what's in the document? We have a pilot. Okay, now clear. Expand. Ls, you can see there's GitLab. Let me enter GitLab. Ls. See, I already have one there. Now just say git clone, paste. Supposed to be able to clone it. You can see ls. See, it's here. I'm able to clone it because I've authenticated my system. So my system is aware. You understand me? Git, when I want to access this private, what will happen is that my private repository will automatically go to my public repository and go to my private in my Git and validate. These things happen in microseconds. And if everything is the same, it's working, what will happen is that it will go. So for example, if I want to work on it, maybe I want to create a file, just say clear, just say cd, what's the repo again? CT, C, enter, ls, then maybe I want to add a file. Let's say I say Vim, let me use Vim to just create the file. Vim, let's say, welcome to private repo .py, and then I'm going to enter here and say, okay, I say this is a, say print, yeah, then I say print, this is a private repo. Then close my stuff. Then WQ. I can use it. You can also use VS Code to do this, so it's not a serious thing like it was before. Then, and I have two files here, right? If I say git status, there's already git inside because I downloaded it from GitHub. So I don't need to say git init again. So it's telling me that I created a file. I've not added it. I'm going to say okay, git add here. I'll say git commit the -m. Then what's the command am I committing? Testing, test, private, repo, and close it. So you have to enter. For me to just push it back, I'll just say git push. Automatically to push it in. As simple as that. If I go to my GitHub account, you can see, if I refresh, that's pushed in here. And you can see it here. So meaning I can work in my system and push it here. I can decide to, you understand me? So I'll just be working, we will just be committing. I can create a branch. I can create a branch from it. Like this one is telling me how many branch, one branch. Let me see, I want to create a branch. I'll just say, okay, I'll create a branch, I'll say git checkout -b. Let me call it private repo. Then enter a switch. Then under that private repo, let me just work on that private repo. They'll say, okay, Vim, what is the name of the private repo, the application this I just created? I say, okay, welcome. Well, okay, let me add to this. You know, it's nothing special. You guys understand what I'm doing already. Then I just come here, I just say, okay, print function. Okay. This is a private repo 2. You understand me? It's another branch, right? Then I just come here, enter WQ. Now, because I've not created that branch before, when I'm pushing it, it's going to ask me some questions. When I say git add dot, we're going to add git commit -n added add branch. I close it, enter. I say git push. Because that branch does not exist before. You understand? So I'm going to create another branch. That's why it's going to give me that. So with this, it's going to create another branch in the repo. And say to now, what is it? Remote create a pull request for this, for the group to happen. Okay, set up a track on this. Okay, writing this is done remote. Create a pull request on the stuff, on those things, on the new branch, private to repo. Branch this set track on this. Now, automatically it's giving me another instruction. Okay, for me to add it to the private one, I have to merge. Now, I'm not ready to do that now. Okay. You can see now, I have 2 branches now. I have private repo branch, and I have the main branch, right? So I can now create a pull request. What is a pull request? You know, I told you a pull request is like, I've created a branch out of this. Are you getting me? You can come here and just create a pull request automatically. Say, add branch, say, please add review and add code. And if I do that, I create the pull request. Now, what have I just done? I just beg somebody now and say, okay, please, please, I want you to add it to the first one we did. If I accept it, confirm my image, automatically I've merged the first and the second together. Now, if I go to my branch now, this is the branch. You can see, I still have 2 branches, right? But despite I have 2 branches, I have merged the first and the second together. By the time I open this, you're going to see 2 lines here because I've added a pull request. You can use the pull request here, or you can also use your terminal to do a pull request. Tell me. Create pull request, private repo, GitHub by visiting. This. I've done a pull request, I've merged. So I've merged it. So automatically clear. So now clear. I'm sorry. Now if I say git status, sorry, I'm using Hapac. Git status, you're going to see so I'm up to date. So git branch -a. See, it said I have 2 branches, one private, one this, but this is the one I'm working on, which is the main. So I remember I told you that there's a .git application here. If I say cd .git, I'm just going to add to what I just did yesterday. ls, if I say cat head, you can see I'm in a private repository. So this is my ref. I think ref is a folder. Ref, okay, ls, see? Okay, I say cat remote. I think remote is a folder too. cd remote, anything. It's a folder. You can see I have origin, cd origin. This is not part of the things I want to tell you. But you remember I told you something yesterday that inside this .git, anytime you create a branch, you're going to create a 2 folder. This is for main, this is for private. But despite this, this is main, this is private. But inside this Git folder, there's a 2 folder here. There's another one called main. I think this cat main. You can see this is the ID. Cat private. I'm sorry, it's supposed to be cat, not cat. This is the ID. So that will not permit me to go deep dives. So anytime you create a branch, the Git will create a folder, a file, and hide it. So it's when you are switching each of the branch, you'll be switching it from this place. That's what I just explained to you. Remember, I did an example of it yesterday. Now let's go back. I'm sorry. Okay, where am I now? Okay, I'm back. Okay. Now, this is the application. So this is what I just explained to you now. So I just created an application. I just created a branch. I just did a git merge and it worked successfully. Okay. Now I want you guys to do it the same. Then that will be our lab today. Then when we are done today, I'm going to share you a link. This link, I want you to, on your own, go extra mile and practice those syntaxes. With the help of this video, it's going to help you. At least now you can do anything. You can fork, you understand? So you don't have any issue. So I want you to go and download this sheet, understand me, and play with it. Just try and master, whether you like it or not, whether you call yourself professional or you're just coming, these are the things we use. There's nothing like I'm a professional GitHub master. This is what we are all using. To undo changes, this is what you do. To know all the changes that you've done, this is what you do, git or log. But now if I say git log now, I say git log, it's going to show me all the commits I have done. These are the commits that I have done. This is the ID. These are the ID, the commit ID. And if I want to reverse back, this is what I'm going to do. I reverse back to this or I reverse back to this. So as I reverse back. If I want to go back, sorry, or I reverse to this, sorry. That's a tautology. This Nigerian thing, well, God help me. Reverse back, reverse back, reverse back, reverse back. Sorry. So
it will have to take Nigeria from you.
Wallahi, God will help me. If you want to compare between 2 branches, this is what you use, git branch. Or you want to compare both stage or on stage. If you want to show on stage changes before your index and working directory, this is what you do. then git commit, git status, git, this is what I use just now, git branch, list all the branch, then git checkout -b branch, we create a branch and check it out. Git merge, the branch, merge branch, git merge branch into the current branch. This is what you use. And then git remote. And so just try and master and just practice all these things. It's not many now. It's not many. Just practice it. Just sit down and just practice it one after the other. One after the other. That's what makes you a professional. Understand? But I've just given you everything. I think I've taught on everything you need to understand about the Git. So I've given you the architecture of Git. I've given you the plans of Git and how to create SSH key. I've given you how to create an organization, how to add to organization. I've added it to organization, and I've told you how to switch branches, how to merge and everything, how to create a pull request, which I just did. So, but what is left now is for you to practice it. So we have 6 minutes, and that 6 minutes, I want you to open your scripts, put your screen, share your screen, and let's play. Oh yeah, this is not television. I'm going to stop recording now so that I'll see how you guys enjoy yourself.